Okay, so we're going to spin through the last two slides in this series on competition, competitive advantage, positioning, and we're just going to go through the opportunities with the SWOT analysis that we did in the last video, and then what you do with all this information. So you've done all this research and what you should do in future. So what we're looking at when we're looking at those strengths and weaknesses yesterday or in the previous video of your competition and their honest strengths and their honest weaknesses, you're actually looking for the opportunities, you're looking for the weaknesses, and you're looking to see if that is a genuine weakness as far as the client is concerned and what opportunity that presents you as a business. So you want to identify when you're doing these analysis, what they're actually genuinely weak at. And is this something that you actually do better? And if you don't currently do it better, and it's something that clients are saying that they would have liked, is there a way that you can do this better than the competition so you get that competitive advantage? How are they actually missing the mark with their clients? A lot of my complaints about personal trainers, and I know that won't necessarily apply to anyone listening, is that they do no in between session follow-up, that they don't necessarily keep track of you, they don't ask how you're doing. If you skip a few sessions, if they've been paid for them, they're not that concerned. It's just like, well, I'll see you when I see you then. This is not customer care. This is not asking what's going on in someone's head. It's not following through. I remember with one personal trainer, I had been booked in to have an operation and I actually couldn't go personal training for 6 weeks. And they knew this, and I'd been a regular client. I was worth 4 personal training sessions a week, so that's quite a lot. I was doing really well, and I went off to have the operation, and I did not get one message at all through the whole 6-week recovery period. Not how you're doing, how'd it go, how are you feeling, what exercise are you doing, not even a get well card. So there will be, your direct competitors will be missing the mark somewhere, and this potential client feedback, or when people make inquiries and you ask, who have you worked with before, how did you find that, what were they not doing that you would have appreciated. I've just given you some feedback there. My competition, that I could have gone and given a competitor, and if they had any sense, rather than ignore that, they go, okay, so clients actually want us to stay in contact and, show some concern for them, or show some concern about when, what they're doing and how they're maintaining their fitness while they're not with us. And that is potentially something you could do better than your competition in your locale. Equally, you may not be doing that and they might, in which case it's your weakness and their strength. Is it important to clients though? Is that level of client service, customer care important to them? There was one PT I know who gets clients to check in every single day with their food diary and their food photos and what they're doing, and also messages them throughout the day. Now, to them, that's awesome coaching. That's them really proving their value for the amount of money that they're given per hour. But one of their clients, I spoke to one of their clients, didn't speak to all their clients, found it an almighty pain in the arse, because it was just on top of their normal day, which, involved children and husbands and work, and, to have someone constantly on their back going, where's your photo, where's your lunch, what you doing, just drove them insane. So that level of service wasn't right for that client, and it would be very interesting to know if other clients felt the same way, or if they really like that level of service and care. Because if they did, that's a strength for that trainer, but that trainer has to be aware when they take someone on that they make it very, very clear that's what they do, that's the expectation, that's the what they expect from their clients, so they don't have clients start with them who would be driven by that sort of thing. So monitoring your competition's weaknesses, if you identify something as a weakness, does developing that actually genuinely make it a strength and a competitive advantage for you? Something very, very important in service industries particularly is reputation. around a geographical area or online. Had this conversation before when people have gone, oh, you know, they skipped out on a couple of sessions and now they want their money back and say it's not working for them, and in the contract it was a no money back, you know, situation, and it's their fault, and should I give the money back or should I just hold on to it because that was the contract and the agreement? And my answer, right or wrong, I don't know, is always give the money back. Because you cannot afford for your reputation to be trashed, not with social media and the reach of social media nowadays. And a few £100 really isn't worth arguing about, even if you think that client hasn't behaved particularly well or is blaming you for stuff that actually wasn't your fault. Hold your tongue, be in good grace, give the money back, because that will earn you more brownie points and potentially future referrals than kicking up a ruck with them. No matter how disgruntled you feel about that, and no matter how hard done by you feel or how unjustified everything they're saying is. So if you're going to monitor others' reputation, you have to be aware that other people will be doing it about you, and you have to be very careful how you maneuver to make sure you maintain a good service level, that's competitive advantage, that you maintain a good reputation. Yeah, and then the last question was just, is there an obvious opportunity from that? Okay, what can you do with all of this? Very quickly, because we're already on our 6 minutes. It means that you really, really get to know your marketplace and you're not making assumptions. And you know what they say about assumptions, they make an ass of you and me. You understand why your customers choose what they choose. Remember, in one of the videos we talked about customer choice being down to 3 things. This is why there's only a finite number of customers, not an infinite number. One is desire to change and whether they're ready to change. Another one is time. Another one is money. These are 3 basics. I'm not saying they're the only ones, but they're the main drivers of choice. It means that you understand your competitors and how to analyze your competitors and find gaps in the marketplace, whether you're having a small slice of a big pie or a large slice of a small pie. You will understand where the gaps, the service gaps, the product gaps, the price gaps, whatever it might be, are, so that you can maneuver your business, your brand into that gap if it's appropriate, and you then reflect that in all your communications with people so that you really play to the strengths that you know people want to achieve their goal, that you solve a problem for them. Not hundreds of problems. No one ever believes it if you say I can solve every problem under the sun. You solve a specific problem for them in a way that achieves the goals that they're looking for, you know, on the money for them at the time that they want it, in a better way than the competitors who are in exactly the same space as you do in fields that are important to the potential client. So that goes to your avatar research, which we've discussed in other videos. I hope you found all this idea of analysing competitors quite interesting and something new, because obviously, like I said at the very beginning of this, a lot of gurus go, don't worry about it. But actually, now that I've gone through them, I'm hoping you can see that just by doing this analysis, you can actually open up product development, price development, that type of thing, and get yourself a strategic plan. Okay, that's it. Hopefully, you'll consider joining Profit Ladder and join a group of people who are already learning this stuff through slightly longer videos and group interaction, group support, and applying it. It's all theory. Apply it as well and testing it. Okay, that's it. Bye.